What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today I'm joined by Leif Thobroe. I'll just give you a brief background on who Leif is. So Leif is truly a living proof that dark times don't last forever. Nearly 6 years ago, Leif suffered a spinal injury in a rugby match that left him lose the use of his right arm. Since then, he has become a former Team GB Taekwondo athlete, world bronze medalist and European silver medalist. Additionally, he has won Powys Disability Sports Personality of the Year in 2017. He's gained his master's degree in business. He's managed sport camps for children all over the UK and travelled the world solo. What an inspiration this guy is, and I'm super excited to be joined by you today, Leif.
Thanks for having me.
So just to start off with now, I just want to ask, can you just talk to me about that rugby match that, changed everything for you, basically?
Yeah, it goes back to like 2015. I was only 22 years old at the time. I was just started a new job as well, so I just started a new full-time job. I had that Saturday off work, and I was like, I'll go back and play game rugby with my mates. Didn't think anything of it. It's like 70 minutes into the game, near the end of the game, just went in for a tackle, and as I went down, the guy's knees went into my neck and spine, just ripped the nerves on my spine. I left at first my whole body was paralysed. I couldn't even move my legs, nothing. So I was just lying on the floor didn't know what was happening. Obviously never felt that feeling before. And then my legs started to come back. I was really grateful. My legs are moving, my legs come back. So I was like sigh of relief. And then, but my right side of my body still didn't come back. It was a bit like a stroke. It felt like I couldn't use my right side of my body. And then I was like, they actually walked me off the pitch in the end, so because they just thought it was like a stinger, we call it in rugby, just nerves had been like hit hard. And they walked me off the pitch. I was fine, thought I was fine, made my way to hospital then, and then when I had an MRI scan to say I ripped all the nerves out my spine and I'd lost the complete use of my arm. I remember the doctor sitting on the edge of my bed and telling me like, oh yeah, you probably will never use your arm again. And I was just like, okay, well, like a big thing, and I was just like, okay, how can I just come back from that? My family, my mates were there, and it was like quite a big deal. I was like, oh. But so it was like 6 years ago in January now. But it's been an interesting journey. Yeah.
What was going through your mind like when they said that, and just throughout the whole process of that?
I've always had a positive mentality anyway. I've always been quite a positive person, but when they tell you that, it's really hard obviously to see the positive side of it. Of course. Because at the time I was like, I had to leave my job. I was out of work, and then in your mind you're like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life now? How am I going to do? Am I going to do the things I did before? What work will I go back to? How is this going to affect my competing? Will I do sports again? Will I do anything again? At the time I thought, I'm not going to return to kickboxing. I'm not going to return to martial arts. I can't. And it was just quite a negative mentality for the first couple of weeks. My family were upset. Obviously, it was just an emotional time. But then straight away I was just like, it's done. I just changed it like that. I was like, it's done now. It's pointless dwelling on it. Yeah. And like, being depressed about it. It's done. How can I adapt? How can I change? How can I still enjoy things? And I was changing my complete mentality. Like within a month of leaving hospital, I was back competing in kickboxing within 3 months of leaving hospital. In a sling, tying my arm up. I just went straight back into it all. I thought it's pointless sulking. It's done now. Get on with it.
That's insane, man. That's crazy to hear. Yeah. It is easy for people to stay down when something like that happens to them. And the way you come back and bounce back is inspirational. There's a guy called Eric Thomas. Have you heard of him?
I'm not sure. No.
He's a motivational speaker, and he said that on the other side of pain is reward. And he said pain is temporary, like it may last for like a minute, an hour, or like a week, or even a month, or even a year, but eventually it will subside. And for anyone listening out there as well, just know that if you're going through something in life, just know on the other side there's a reward, that everything happens for a reason, right? So on the other side you will get something from it. But you mentioned that you was going to start a job. What were you going to be doing?
So I just tied myself down into like a 50-hour-a-week job working for Enterprise, the car rental company. Oh, okay. So as a trainee manager. I actually just passed 5 interview stages to get the job.
No way.
It was a grueling recruitment process, and I just passed the branch interview and assessment day, and up in Cardiff. So I just started for my first week. I think I was 5 days in. And I had that Saturday off. I was supposed to be working every other Saturday, and that first Saturday I had off, I decided to go back and play rugby. I haven't played rugby in about a year as well. I played more football most of my life. Yeah. And I was like, I'll go back, have a game, missing it. Went back and that happened. But yeah, 50 hours a week, things change, things happen for a reason sometimes, and I used to just feel if that hadn't happened, I would have been tied into a 50-hour week job, which I probably wouldn't really like doing that much. But just for the sake, it looked like a good career at the time, like a good option. But I actually don't think it would have been that good an option. I think it would just been very hard work for not that good pay at the time.
Yeah.
So I think it took me away from that and led me on to better things anyway. So
no, of course, you're shining now. It's great to see. Why did you go back to doing taekwondo?
So I've only done taekwondo for like 3 years. I did it professionally for 2 years with GB, but I've done kickboxing since I was 19. So I'd been doing kickboxing 3 years before my injury. I was like undefeated in full contact. I was getting paid to compete locally, competed around here, over Swansea. And I was doing full contact and like continuous and competitions. It was a British title at one point, and I was loving my kickboxing. Only started martial arts at 19, started loving it. Had my injury, 22, lost use of my right arm, and then the kickboxing is not in the Olympics or the Paralympics. So I had the choice. GB contacted me, said, you want to try taekwondo to get to the Paralympics? And I was like, well, it's obviously a bigger stage than what I was doing. I thought, well, let's give it a go. Went for trials, got into the team, and transferred from kickboxing to taekwondo. Luckily, because I had a kicking background, it was as easy, but it was definitely transferable skills. So I transferred my kicking ability to taekwondo, and went from there. It's 2 years up in Manchester, competing full time, like all around the world, and it was worth it. I got to like 7th in the world rankings from 68 athletes, and you have to be in top 4 to automatically qualify for the Paralympics. And I broke my arm, and I had injuries, and then I just called it a day. I was like, I got offered a good job, and I thought, you know what, it's not worth the pain anymore of pushing anymore, because like I had so many injuries in the 2 years I was up there. It was worth it, but it's just hard times, like.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it? Doing
6 hours a day, mentally tiring. But
of course, what do you do now?
So I work for, Treads, the company, so customer service. I work for customer service and bike specialist team. Do that part-time from home, but I've also just started my motivational speaking now. So I've had a few talks lately with sports teams and schools, and I've got a few contacts ready to go via my old university. So they're looking at getting me in and doing some talks with students, and maybe do some work with some entrepreneurial students as well. So doing a little side business and see how that takes off in the new year. Yeah, nice. Things start to ease. But
why did you go into motivational speaking?
Just because the story, I suppose. Like, because I've always gone from one thing to another thing, and I thought my story's there. When I was competing, I was inspiring a lot of children. They obviously saying, "Oh, I've gone back to competing now," and children are talking to me saying, "Oh, how did I get through it?" And I've always spoken to people about how I dealt with my injury, and they just got me thinking, why don't I speak to people about how I've come back from what I've come back from, and just do some public speaking there. And I enjoy it. I did a talk the other day down in Caerphilly, down that way, and it actually, adults came up to me asking me how can I deal with certain situations, and shocked me because I thought it would be more for children and teenagers, but it's actually a lot of adults who are vulnerable out there as well, and there's a lot of people who need support and help, especially in this kind of time as well with the pandemic. But I thought, it's a perfect timing. And
I think your story is so powerful because it shows people that, if they're going through something, that there is light on the other side. Like, you're literally shining right now. After going through something that's, if a doctor tells you like, oh, you can't use one of your arms, like that's crazy. But there's a question I want to ask you. It might sound like a silly question for some people, but would you change what happened to you? Because I'm only asking you this, right? There's this American footballer called Inky Johnson.
I think I've seen his speech. I think he's in the speech. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, he's a motivational speaker.
He won't change what happened. I exactly the same.
Yeah, so
a million reasons why, but I've had a question asked to me before. Would I go back and change it? I wouldn't want to go back to that job I was doing anyway. I would definitely want to go back and change it, because honestly, in 5 years I've done more than I did in the last 10 before that.
Of course,
and I think it's changed my mentality just to try to do as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And when something like that happens to you, you either get the choice to try and achieve as much as you can and keep pushing, or you sit there and moan and complain, and you just go down, I don't know, the depression route and sad, and obviously don't achieve anything. But I've just gone for the route of doing everything, accelerating and trying to do as much as I can. But no, I've done so much since my injury. I think it's changed me as a person. I'm a different person today. Like, I wouldn't have gone back to my master's degree if it hadn't happened. There's lots of things I wouldn't have done, so I definitely wouldn't change it. Don't get me wrong, it's not a nice thing to go through.
Yeah, of course.
There was a lot of pain. I've had like 5 operations, and like you mentioned earlier about the pain. I've had pain on and off for years, but it's still worth it because what I've achieved since and what I've gone on to doing. But yeah, no, definitely won't change it because I'm still excited to see what else I'm gonna do next. And whereas before I was just not like settling, but I was just happy with I was just settling for the easy life, just a normal job. So I can get in a house, and I wasn't pushing myself. I don't think I ever would have pushed myself as far as I have now if it wasn't for my injury. It's a bit of a hard awakening, but like it did make me realise there's a lot more to achieve out there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I wouldn't change it, definitely not.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's what he said as well, Inky Johnson. Like you mentioned, he said that it opened up his life. He opened up his eyes to life, and he's doing more now than ever. And the route that you're actually taking is similar to his, because he's a motivational speaker now, and you want to go into motivational speaking, which is insane. When I was younger, I did want to do some motivational speaking as well. I went to a school to do it once, in Bath, when I was studying at the University of Bath, and it's nice to provide value for other people. So it's a nice thing that you're going into.
Can be a bit daunting as well, can't it? But I used to hate doing presentations in university. I didn't even like standing in front of people. When I went back to my masters, then I completely changed mindset again. I was just like, why am I so nervous? I was talking. I'm only talking. So why am I getting so nervous about it? So I don't mind enough. I don't mind standing in front of people and speaking. But,
nice. Well, when you was in hospital now, is there something like you read or something you watched that changed your mindset to be like, look, like this can either break me or I can just shine from this? Like, what was there, like a moment? Or
I don't know if it was. I just think it's down to the person as well. Because I was a really positive person anyway. I think for those few weeks, my mind is my judgment was clouded. So I wasn't thinking straight. I was just obviously sad and down. But then I just think I went back to my old ways more. So I've always been kind of positive. I've always been very competitive in everything I do. But I don't think there was really a moment. I think it was just, I just sat there and thought, okay, it's done. Let's just move on from it. How can I move on from it? And it's not about, can I do a normal press up? I can do one-handed press up. It's about how I adapt. So instead of doing things in the normal way or the way people perceive as being normal, it's about how I do things in my way and how I adapt to everything I do. So people might think, oh, how can you live without one arm? If you'd asked me 6-7 years ago, could I live without one arm? I would have told you no.
Yeah, of course,
Of course I would have. I would have been like, no chance. But now I'm just thinking, it's actually I don't even think about it. I don't even wake up in the morning and think, oh, how am I going to go for today with one arm? It's just not even on my mind anymore. I just wake up and I just do it. Whereas the first few months, everything was like, you have to retrain yourself to do it. But then when your brain's retrained, then you don't think about it. So I just get on with things, and I was always, I don't know, I don't think there was a moment, but I just think I just changed my mindset was just like, my life's not over. I think people think, oh, if that's happened in your life, so why is your life over? And you can still do exactly what I was doing before. And if anything, when I went back to kickboxing after my injury, I was actually better with one arm because I actually think more. I had to be more tactical. I had to pick my shots more, whereas it's a bit more wild before. With two arms, just flailing, throwing more punches. But when I went back, I was tactically beating people, more like chess. It was a game. And sometimes you take a step back and realise, how can I do things differently? How can I still enjoy things? And as long as you're still getting enjoyment of the things you do, then that's all that matters. That's what I say to people about adapting or going back to sports. You might not be as good, you might be better, but as long as you're still enjoying, that's the main thing.
Of course.
And I was still competing, I was still getting out there, I was still enjoying. Nice. But so there wasn't a key moment, but it was just, I've always been kind of a positive person.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Like you mentioned, adapting, that's one of the biggest things. Like people, like you mentioned, like I asked you 6 years ago, would you be able to live without, the use of one arm? You'd say no, but
I honestly couldn't think of anything worse. That's what I think most people now are like, oh my God, how can you do it? But you don't know until you're there. Yeah. It's like adapting. Sometimes I do things automatically. I adapt to things automatically. I don't think about it. You just do it. Yeah. It's like survival of the fittest, basically. You do things to survive.
Of course.
And from day one, I was just doing things because you had to do it. And I wasn't like, forcing myself to do it. I was just doing it. I won't tell you some of the stupid things my mates ask me, but how do you do that? How do you do this? But you just do things of
course. Yeah. What is your goal now? I know that you want to go into motivational speaking, but what's your primary goal? Like, have you set yourself goals?
I don't really ever set myself goals. I think things come my way, and then I put my mind to it. But if this does take off, I could do talks all around the UK potentially. It could be linked in with university students, and definitely linking in what I'm doing with the pandemic, because a lot of people have been dealing with difficult times. It's how you get over those difficult times, how you overcome things. So hopefully long term this will take off. I'll do more talks. I can get some partnerships going and link with people and see how it goes next year. I think next year when things start to ease, I can travel around UK more, do a few more talks and see how that goes. But I usually don't have like a big goal. I just go day by day, step by step, and if somebody contacts me, I'll go with the flow. Or I just seem to achieve things if they come my way. Like if you have a positive mindset, things just come to you. If you're positive, things just come your way.
It's the law of attraction, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it was negative, I'm sitting there, nobody probably messaged me, will they? So.
Of course, no, man. What did you? It's another question I want to ask. Like, did you know those around you when this happened to you? Like you mentioned that obviously your parents, your family was upset and your friends. Did that affect you more, knowing that what happened to you is hurting them?
I still think to this day that they were affected more than me. I think the only person who doesn't actually care as much is myself. Because I've dealt with it, I get on with it, I don't think about it. But I definitely affected my mother a lot. Yeah. Like still to this day, I think, even though I travelled the world for 6.5, 7 months on my own, I took like my backpack, I went off and just did Asia and Australia on my own. I've done everything since my injury, and she still, I think, worries. Still to say, but my parents are like that. Yeah, of course. But like it definitely affected her, and obviously parents don't want to see you in pain and all the operations. But myself, I felt like I was fine. I overcame it really well. I went back to things, but my family, I think it hit my family worse than it hit me, which is strange because you're the one dealing with it. But sometimes that's the case. Your family take it harder than you do. I think they're kind of getting over it now. It's been 6 years. I think they can see I can cope.
Yeah, that's good. Good. What made you want to go and travel the world on your own?
So as you said earlier, I was regional manager for a sports company and childcare company. So I was working in Scotland and all around the UK, running sports camps for children. Just finished my contract. That came to an end in like June last year, July. I could have got another contract for August, but I thought it's the perfect time. My tenants, I was renting at the time, my tenancy in my house had just ended. Didn't have like any commitments, so the job had just finished, the contract, so I thought it's the perfect time. I'd not long come out of a relationship, so it's the first time in like 5 years I was like single for a long time. I thought, don't have to worry about somebody being back home and me going off, so I thought it was just a perfect timing. I thought, nothing holding me back, and I wanted to see the world. There's so much to see out there. I just thought, perfect time to book my flights to Thailand. Went out with one of my friends for a week, and then I went off like 6 months after on my own then. Did all of Asia, Australia, but honestly one of the best things I've ever done. Solo things, travelling is amazing. Opens your eyes up to different cultures, way people live. Makes you appreciate, like, when people complain about the UK and stuff, but honestly it makes you appreciate where you're from so much more as well. When you come back and you're living the way we live compared to some people there, it's completely different. Like, so you obviously, I was grateful when I came back, and such an amazing experience. But yeah, definitely glad I did that. That's another thing. I probably would have never travelled if I hadn't had my injury. Probably would have been in the job full time, paying like a mortgage, and probably would have never gone away on my own.
Everything happens for a reason.
It does. Honestly, some of the things I've done, I'm so glad I've been able to do them. So
no, for sure. Were you in a relationship when this happened to you, the injury? So I was a year into the relationship when it happened, and we stayed together for a year after. So about 2.5 years. Did that change anything? Did it make you go stronger together?
No, definitely not stronger. because we broke up. I feel she stuck by me, which was really nice, and I think mentally in my head it was like, when something like that happens, it makes you think she's staying with you because of something big like that's happened. You never really know. But on your mind, it's like, are you putting her through more unnecessary pain than she needs to go through as well? Because it's not just you dealing with it. If someone's around you, like I said, my mother, my ex-girlfriend, they have to put up with the pain and they have to deal with it as well. So sometimes in your head you think, oh, is it fair they're going through that? So I just needed time on my own. I was better on my own at the start. Got in another relationship then about a year after my injury, or 2 years after my injury. It was for 2.5 years. But I just felt it was better because she got with me after my injury, and she knew me for what I knew me. Yeah. So like she knew what I'd been through. She was like, she liked that.
Of course,
So I think the relationship was a little bit affected by my injury because there's a lot of operations and she had to come to that, and it was just like, it was always going to be a little bit affected.
Of course.
But I'm single again now. No girl on the scene.
No, that's great. it's just crazy listening to you, because you know, a lot of people would, when something little happens to them, they're like, oh, you know, I'm not going to get out of bed today, you know. But something huge has happened to you and you've bounced back, and you know, you're living proof of an uncommon person, what I would call. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. But is there anything that you want to say to the people listening, like, you know, from bouncing back or anything like that? Like, do you want to say anything to them?
Just like, life is short, it's very short, so as much as you might go through difficult times and it looks like you can't come back from it, you can. And there's no point giving up when life's so short anyway. It could end at any point. So that's the way I live my life now, is, well, if it ended in a week, would I be annoyed with myself that I didn't make the most of every opportunity and moment? Because something could happen to me in a month's time, a year's time, 2 years' time, and then if I didn't do as much as I could have done and achieved as much as I could have done, I'm going to regret it. So just make the most of every day. Like, there's going to be days you don't want to get out of bed and stuff, but just think, it's a gift you're here in the first place. It's like, you need to look at life as a gift. Like, I'm still breathing, I still enjoy things, I still go out. Everything I can still achieve things. Everybody can still achieve things. Like, I work with people with different disabilities. You can still achieve anything you want to achieve. You can still achieve things. So it's just looking positive. And just don't give up. There's too much to achieve to give up. And there's too much you can do with your life to give up.
We're all blessed, for sure. No, thank you so much, Leif. You know, I do appreciate you being here, and I hope that the listeners have gained value from you, because you know, it's definitely inspired me to do more. You know, like, just the first time I heard your story, I was like, wow, this guy is truly uncommon. Like, I need him on the podcast. But yeah, if you guys want to check out Leif on social media, I'll leave his accounts down below. Go and check him out, you know, go and give him a follow. You know, he'll be doing big things in 2021, I believe, traveling around the UK, doing motivational talks.
Might be go back to do my teaching as well, so I forgot to mention that. Might be doing my PGCE next year.
Oh,
so
nice.
I might go back to teach children, so I can do my business around that as well. So
that's brilliant. Yeah,
that's potentially my next goal, which you've asked me about.
There we are. Yeah, good man. No, awesome. That's brilliant. And just before we wrap this up, you've done a master's in business as well. Yeah. Is there anything? Is there like a reason why you did your master's in business?
I was in a lot of different management roles. So I worked in Liberty Stadium as like a hospitality supervisor, and I was managing hospitality rooms and bars for 4 years, and then I went into retail management. And after my injury, because my original goal was to go to the fire service before my injury, and obviously that changed, and I went into management, and I went back to do my master's in business to tie in with all the management roles I'd done before. Business is obviously a broad area, it can help you in so many areas. So it was a really good course, to be honest. A lot of people did it. A lot of people, mature students, went back to their masters in business who already had careers. They just wanted to do an extra course. But I thought it was a good course to go back to do, open up some more doors.
Brilliant. Yeah,
that's good.
Well, it's great hearing that, because you just literally throwing yourself out there and doing all these amazing things. It's brilliant.
It's like trying to tick off as many things as I could get done.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Leif. I appreciate you being here. And I'll see you guys next time on the next episode. Thank you.